Okay, I was just having a little bit of a doze, but I'm a bit restless. So, this seems as good a topic as any. First things first, I know I've been pretty sloppy at making replies to comments recently. I did say before that I try to say what I want to say in the video, and I usually leave the comment section open for people to have their view. I try to get around looking at comments, but I can't always reply to them. The situation is the upload speed of my videos is very fast these days, so it's easy to make them easier than before. I will try to get back to comments, but if I don't, please don't take it personally. It's just time management. I'm doing other things at the moment as well. I'm working hard on a course. I'm doing a lot of things, so I can't spend a lot of time just getting into long back and forths on the comment section. So that's my rationale for that. But by all means, leave a comment, and I will try to get back to some if I can. Okay, so I want to talk about religion, morality, atheism. And I guess you could call this a little bit of a follow-up to the video I made the other day about faith itself. Very often atheists say that you don't need religion to do the right thing. Now, I totally agree with this. It goes without saying there are many decent people who know right from wrong, who are atheists, who don't believe, and who are actively hostile to organised religion. So, for example, if you know it's wrong to steal, to rape, to lie, to murder, to hurt innocent people, this is just common human sense. It's common decency. These things are bad things. They're wrong. But the atheist point is that religions say that you need religion to know those things are wrong. I think there is a complex question as to where morality comes from, because people of faith would say that you could be as anti-religion as you want, but the foundations of morality do lie in religion. I think that's a point of debate. It's something I need to spend more time researching, looking into. I'm not so sure that I agree with that. I think that there's probably always been atheists around. It's just that in the past they were a lot more quiet because they had to be. And they knew right and wrong. They knew decency. So I absolutely agree that you don't need religion to be a decent person. I get that. But sometimes in making this point, I think atheists get into this mentality that religion is always a bad thing, and that's one of my biggest issues with atheism. I get them hating organised religion and all the problems associated with it. For example, human rights abuses, dogma being imposed on other people, theocracy, not being able to have freedom of conscience because religious dogma is shackling you. For example, sex before marriage, things like that. But so I get their opposition to organised religion. I do get that, but I think it's a bit arrogant to sort of say, well, religion's always bad, therefore religious people of faith, must just be brainwashed. I do get the impression a lot of atheists, and I'm not talking about everyone, aren't really content with just not believing themselves. They want to actively prove how stupid religious people are. So just as, you get street preachers who are kind of shouting out the gospel, and they can be pretty irritating, and you get Christian evangelists who also can be quite, I've said before how I find some of the tones very condescending and judgmental. I think atheists sometimes can come across as quite arrogant themselves, because they basically believe they have it all worked out. They say there's no God, it's all fairy tales, oh so we're smart, religious people are dumb. I think they won't admit it, but I think that is their thinking. And I've seen that with the sort of memes that they come out with. So with this thing about morality, you don't need religion to know what's right and wrong. But what I would invite atheists to consider is that for many people of faith, it is their faith that guides them to do what they believe to be right. I'm not talking about fanaticism whereby, oh, this woman has committed adultery before marriage, let's stone her to death. That's religious extremism, that's fanaticism. But the fact of the matter is, when you get good things, charitable things, benevolent, humanitarian things done in the name of religion, then, I mean, an example of this, the work of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent. Now, the people behind those movements are carrying out humanitarian acts because they believe it is religious duty to do so. So, whilst I recognise the atheist issue of religious totalitarianism, I would simply invite atheists to accept that there is also good done in the name of religion. That's all. It doesn't mean that religion has a monopoly on good, but the fact of the matter is, very often the people who were on the front lines, for example, of Victorian slums, were people of faith. The Quakers, for example, you know, very often there was benevolence done, and it was done by people who believed that it was a religion guiding them. There was plenty of benevolence done by people who weren't religious, but the point I'm driving at is atheists seem to have this idea that if you're not religious, you've got it all worked out, or at least that you're smarter than religious people. Oh, they're dumb, they're just following fairy tales. To me, that's not a convincing argument. And it is something I see with a lot of atheist thinking. Now, that's not everyone who's an atheist. There's atheists who they don't believe in God, and that's just a private thing. But it is a point worth considering that, you know, for people who believe that it's all fairy tales, it's all rubbish, they spend a hell of a lot of time talking about it. Religion. Is it not better to convince other people by getting them to see the merits of atheism, rather than just bashing religion for the sake of it, just ridiculing it, attacking it, which, by the way, I believe they have a right to do. I just don't think it's a particularly strong argument. Saying, for example, oh, Christianity is stupid, it's just about a guy getting tortured on a cross and it's all fairy tales, it's stupid, so you shouldn't believe it. That's not really a convincing argument. That's just ridicule. So I think there's a smugness with certain atheists in that sense that I don't care for. Of course you get arrogance with religious people, more than arrogance. You get downright totalitarianism. So I would say that overall the problems caused by organised religion are more intolerant and problematic than those caused by atheism. But this is another issue I took with atheism. They seem to think that all the world's problems can be blamed on religion. There are many serious problems in this world that have nothing to do with religion. So, for example, gang warfare, drug trafficking, and for that matter, communist totalitarianism. The human rights abuses committed under those systems. How can you rationally blame that on religion when very often religious people have been among the targeted? So that's something I do not agree with atheists, is the idea that A, all the world's problems can be blamed on religion, and B, that religion is always negative for the individual. I have seen some very decent people, very likeable people, do good things in the name of religion. Of course, I've seen people do terrible things in the name of religion, which comes to the point that religion in itself isn't the determiner of right and wrong. But what a lot of atheists seem to think is it's only wrong. It only produces negativity. That's what I don't agree with. That's the point I have contention with. I will try to get the comments. I can't guarantee it because I'm wrapped up with my coursework, but I will try to get the comments. Please, though, before commenting, do just take on board things I've said, but sometimes people leave comments in the blatant they haven't listened to what I've said. So, for example, people might come on here and say, prove God exists, even though I haven't been advocating religion per se. You know, something like that. That just makes me think people aren't listening. I don't particularly believe in organised religion, so this is not a case of me trying to promote God or something. That's not what it's about.